is if somebody says, if someone says like, oh wait, do you watch Destiny? If it comes up, like if someone says like, did you see what this guy said on Twitter or whatever, and it comes up like, number one, the first thing is, if you're a fan of Destiny, right, you don't have to defend everything the guy ever says. And in my case, like I know the guy personally a little bit, right? We've met a couple times in person, whatever. We're friendly. If it ever came to the point where somebody is like asking me to apologize for him, I won't. I'll just say, I like the guy. You know, he's been a real friend to me. And that's it. If you don't like it, you can. But I like his content. I think he's funny. I think he ends up being right on a lot of things, whatever. But sure, maybe he's flawed, like everybody. I don't know. But at the end of the day, he's another guy that I don't think that you can hide behind. Like it's just content, bro.
I think, yeah, it's hard to identify because it's so removed from most people's lives. But I do think a lot of this just comes down to political opinions. Because if you have the right political opinions, you can be so much more unhinged and you can get away with so much more. That like, if I make a comment on, if I were to make a comment publicly where I say something like, trans people on Twitter are insane, okay? They're unhinged, they're lunatics, okay? That would be the type of thing that I would say where somebody like Wicked would say like, oh yeah, like I can't identify with Destiny. He's like too mean, like he says, or like people say things or whatever publicly, like yeah, like he's way too unhinged. But like these exact same people would like in jubilous soyness identify with Hasan saying something like Israel needs to be removed from this planet, okay? Israel is like way too much. This country should exist, right? If you have like the right political opinions, you can make so much more of a crazy comment. I was gonna say this for later. I watched this last night, but like we can watch this. This is an unhinged clip. I played games and I went to sleep last night. I was so close to doing a whole Twitter thing where I was going to tag Twitch and everything because I was like, don't ever let me back on this dog platform. This is crazy. This is a crazy thing. But nobody of all the like the normie dip friends that Wicked Supreme is talking about, none of them would ever see this and they're like, oh yeah, no, I don't identify with that girl because she's like way too unhinged and way too crazy. Even though what she's saying is, I would say that what she's about to say here is objectively worse than probably anything I've ever said in the history of my 15 years of streaming. Like, it's not even close. I don't even know if I've ever been genuinely racist. Maybe when I was like a kid, although even when I was like super conservative, I was probably just racist in that, like, I think that black people dress like thugs and listen to violent music too much. When I was like 14, like that's probably the most like racist thought I've ever had because I'm just in the way that I've grown up with my parents and everything. I just haven't been like, I'm not cool like that. Also, hold on real quick. I just want to read this before we get her interpretation of it. Now, full disclosure, I have not read the full article. Maybe giving me the full article will change my opinion of this. But in reading this is my takeaway from this, okay? But Israel deserves reproach too. Unlike Hamas, Israel purports to abide by the principles of the law of war, including proportionality and distinction between combatants who can be lawfully targeted and civilians who cannot. Hamas has fought with transparent disregard for these principles. Israel has conducted its war opaquely, in such a way that one must take its word that every bomb and every round is dropped or fired lawfully. Its media operations in this war will be remembered as a historic failure that allowed Hamas's propaganda to be accepted and spread along without rebuttal or something, right? So this line here is not saying that every bomb and every round is dropped or fired lawfully. What it's saying is because there's such little transparency into how Israel conducts its operations, you have to take it at their word. Because Israel purports to follow, lawful warfare. Obviously, Hamas doesn't care, but like we have to just take them at their word, right? I think that's what this sentence is saying. Now, I haven't read the full article. I don't know if that would change my opinion on this one sentence, but anyway, here we go.
Israel has conducted its war opaquely in such a way that one must take its word that every bomb and every round is dropped or fired lawfully. Here's the thing, Graham. Also, who the spell your name Graham, okay? You're not from Ireland. You don't get to spell your name Graeme. No. You spell it like a graham cracker. Because that's what you half are. So Graham has children, and this is what I pointed out in my tweet at him. I said, you're a genocide bootlicker. It's shameful we are in the same family. Anytime your name is brought up as some sort of pride point for the family, I'll direct them to the vile trash you've written many times over. You have children. Yeah, he has 2 kids. You want to know what my sister said? My sister's like even more ruthless than I am. She goes, I bet he's so happy that they came out with blonde hair and blue eyes. That they didn't get the Chinese genetics. That they look like little Aryans. Little Aryan children. You have children. Imagine if someone murdered them under the guise of war and a depraved imperial sycophant such as yourself defended that.
This is one of the reasons why I get mad about the discourse or whatever, when people freak out over like a particular word that's said like not even as a slur, and like this there will be like 150,000 million views of internet discourse on like a particular word, but like stuff like this flies under the radar. This is legitimately like one of the most racist things I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that somebody feels comfortable just like openly talking about how somebody's happy about like the phenotypes of their children is like an unbelievably reality to live in. This is unhinged that you would invoke somebody's kids on this clip in this way is wild. And apparently it's a relative. Yeah. The annoying thing is that like nobody will ever say anything negative about her behavior, and like people like Wicked Supreme will go like, oh yeah, Caroline, like yeah, she tries to be like, you know, reasonable, blah blah blah. But the reality is that like it has nothing to do with how reasonable you are, how much of an asshole you are, blah blah. It just has to do with your political opinions, because her political opinions are okay. Like she's totally fine saying literally the most unhinged in the world. But if you were to make a comparable comment like this towards any person, it would be unhinged. What?
Do you know how this segment starts?
No. How does it start?
It's me saying that Caroline is disgusting and racist and stupid and can't even understand a sentence. It's not saying that.
Wait,
she's
hold on. Wait,
trying
that's not.
to be
It's the point.
reasonable.
Wait. The point isn't what you think. The point is what you think other people think and why you think they say it. The point is that your normie friends would watch something like her and they go, oh yeah, she seems like whatever. That's what they would say. And then you think that that's an indictment on my conduct as opposed to the political like kind of worlds that different people exist in.
You have no idea who my friends are. You don't know who these people are. And saying things like Wicked Supreme's normie dipshit friends, that's the kind of thing that somebody like those people, who are good, kind people and accomplished, smart people, would watch and be like, wow, this guy's kind of an ass.
Okay, do you think that the average person in your group of friends would watch Caroline doing this or me talking about the N-word and think I'm more unhinged or she's more unhinged?
I'm not talking about you talking about the N-word. I'm talking about you like posting like, oh, these university kids are starving worse than the Gazan children, where they might think, yeah, these university kids are acting irascibly and they don't have the context to be acting as extreme as they do. But also, if you're like a Gazan child, like you're not having a good time right now, this seems really insensitive.
Okay, and then when they talk about people covering the protests and they say, oh, well, when that Jewish kid is being blocked into school, he can just walk somewhere else. Do they have the same energy?
Yeah, they think that's ridiculous too.
Oh, then they just don't like all political content. It has nothing to do with me. They just don't like any of the like political stuff that exists on YouTube right now. Then the entire point is worthless. I don't even know why you would bring it up.
They might even agree with your analysis. It has nothing to do with the political stuff. It has to do with the fact that you're being inflammatory and like insensitive towards groups of people.
Sure, but that's every single part of like the online political content world. Then it's not something that's unique. Okay, so wait, so would they have this? No. That is part and parcel with all of like the online internet commentary right now. Is people being like horrendously disgusting towards different groups of people.
I'm kind of sick of that, and that's up to you. That's the whole point. And listen, if you don't want to be that way, if, like I said, well, I don't know if you got to this part yet because you keep like pausing the video. No, you did get to this part. I said, like, I think the inflammatory stuff is funny, and I'm able to consume it, and like I know that it's humor, and I know that you're not hateful, and I know that you're like a super nice guy in person. But that's not worth anything to people that are consuming you for the first time or whatever. Like when you're posting pictures of like Steve minding the Kaaba, I think that's funny as fuck. But like, I can understand why a Muslim sees that, and if that's their introduction to you, and they've already, like, the well's already been poisoned for them, that you're, like, anti-Muslim or whatever, and they see that, like, I can't blame them for thinking, like, oh, this guy actually just hates Muslims, or he's, like, you know, doesn't care about being really insensitive towards me, or something like that. And at that point, is it wrong for me to say that that's your fault?
The problem is, okay, here's a question. Do you think that I operate differently from anybody else in the space?
Yeah, certainly. I think your
wait, hold on. I don't mean that. I'm sorry. Do you think that I operate more toxically towards some groups of people than anyone else in the space? Is what I'm asking.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. This is, yeah. I don't think you can change my opinion on this. My understanding is I think it has way more to do with the political opinions you have than the way that you express them, because I can find tons of other people that express like 20 million times worse opinions, but because of the political like inclinations they have, they're way more acceptable. That you would say something like, oh, like I showed my normie friends this thing of Destiny making a joke about like starving Gazans, and it was like I could never show people that because they like would have such a negative opinion. But people can watch videos of like Hasan laughing at that cop lady getting shot or shooting their friend like 20 times, but like that's like funny and it's okay because it's a cop. Like I think it has way more to do with the political opinions than it has to do with any demeanor or actual treatment of like any particular topic or subject.
I certainly think there's a large group of people for which it's a groupthink phenomenon where they're just like, I think a lot of people just hate you because you're defending Israel, or like from their perspective, right? You're not as condemning of Israel because genocidal, colonial, whatever, imperialist, whatever. I think that's true too. But what's the point of making these arguments? What's the point of having these conversations and like trying to figure out what the truth is if it isn't to try to change those people's minds to some capacity?
I mean, if people are getting fully informed opinions about me from other people, like TikTok clip compilations or whatever, I mean, there's not much that I like. Handling that has been always a challenge, and it's like every new day is a way to figure out how to deal with that. If it's people that watch full videos and they agree with me, but they think I'm kind of an asshole, I mean, like I'm okay with that, I guess.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.